Here's what happened this week in North Carolina politics. So it's a week before Christmas, and everyone's kind of got one eye on the door, and they're trying to wrap up business before everyone stops paying attention for the holidays. So we don't talk a whole lot about polling here, but a pretty important one landed this week, and what is probably the most important primary coming up in March. A Republican polling firm released news that Senate leader Phil Berger is running 10 points behind Sheriff Sam Page for the state Senate district up in Rockingham County. Now, that is pretty wild because Phil Berger is the undisputed top boss of Republican politics in North Carolina. He's amassed enormous personal power and control over the state Republican Party, and over that time, his family has grown incredibly corrupt and enriching themselves at every opportunity. And over the years, they sort of just stopped trying to hide it because it doesn't matter who knows. Phil Berger has already spent $2 million on negative ads against Sam Page. If you're anywhere in Rockingham or northern Guilford County, you've probably seen these. They're everywhere. He even bought a Donald Trump endorsement by agreeing to redraw North Carolina's congressional maps, and none of it seems to have moved the needle. It's way too early to say that Phil Berger is toast. But he might be toast, and if that happens, there's going to be a huge fight for power among North Carolina Republicans. Michelle Morrow is back, and apparently she's running for the Republican nomination for the U.S. Senate. Bless. Michelle Morrow is a superstar in the fringe hardcore MAGA crowd, which is how she won the Republican nomination for the Department of Public Instruction race last year. The problem is that she's also totally cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and that's very obvious to most people. Michelle Morrow has never been able to win a general election campaign, whether it was for the Wake County School Board or the state DPI. Apparently she tried to get a job with the Trump administration, and they didn't even have time for her, so she went and started a nonprofit. I guess that's not going well. So sure, run for a U.S. Senate. We've also never fully analyzed why it is that Michelle Morrow believes that Twix bars are tools of witchcraft. I feel like we need to get to the bottom of that. Seriously though, this is the big problem that they're facing today in Republican politics, where the hardcore MAGA fringe increasingly controls Republican primaries. We're seeing a lot more Republican lawmakers in our legislature facing primaries this year than the Democrats are, and it's almost all from the MAGA right direction. And these voters adore Donald Trump. They want all their elected officials to copy him, and the problem is they can't all pull that off, which is why Mark Robinson and Dan Bishop and Michelle Morrow are not in elected office today. Hey, whether you're celebrating Hanukkah this week or Christmas next week or the winter solstice or whatever, enjoy your family and friends, stay warm, stay safe, and have a wonderful holiday.